Hi, welcome to Meet Anita Felicelli. My name is Beth Spotswood. I'm Alta's digital editor, and we thought we'd take a brief video break to introduce you to the editor of the California Book Club and kind of talk about what that means and who Anita is, so that when you receive your emails as a California Book Club member, you're receiving emails oftentimes from Anita Felicelli. Today, we're going to talk to Anita, find out who she is, why she loves books, what she does for the California Book Club. If you're a brand new member to the California Book Club, here's a brief overview presented by Alta Journal, which we're a quarterly magazine. The California Book Club is a free book club that meets monthly online. Led by author and editor John Freeman, the CBC features prominent works centered in California and the West. Each of those titles is selected by a panel of literary experts. And then behind the scenes, we've got author, book lover, attorney, mom, Anita Felicelli, who is the editor of the California Book Club. Hi, Anita.
Hi, Beth. It's so nice to be here talking with you. I love your Alta Live, and so it's really kind of an honor to have a conversation with you here.
Thank you. Can you tell us a little bit about what your role is at as editor of the California Book Club?
Sure. I'm curating, I guess, pieces about a book that is selected by our selection committee. And they are looking at works that are related to California. Sometimes they're set in California, sometimes they're by a California author. And I use our coverage as a way of spotlighting different angles into the book that we've selected this month. It happens to be Maxine Hong Kingston's classic and canonical, The Woman Warrior. But other times we've chosen books that are more recent and groundbreaking in some other way, or works that maybe haven't received as much attention since being published. And this is our way of, highlighting them again to create a new California canon, which I strongly believe in. So it's very exciting.
So essentially, the way that I look at what you're doing is the California Book Club kind of wants to set itself apart, both in the way or the panel rather, I have nothing to do with selecting books, but the way the books are selected, and then the way that they're discussed. And so really one of your most important jobs is to figure out new, interesting ways to get our members, as we're reading these books together, hopefully, to look at them differently, to see related stories. If you like The Woman Warrior, you might be really interested to read these other books. Do you have any contact ahead of our monthly interview with the chosen author? Maxine Hong Kingston is coming up on October 21st. Do you reach out to Ms. Kingston ahead of time? Do you have any contact with the authors in advance?
I think some months I probably will. This month I did not. I focused in different ways on the book, including, yes, other representations of Asian American families. And we had two authors write us personal essays about the importance of Maxine Hong Kingston's work to them. And they took different angles. One, Mei Li Chai, she wrote about seeing herself for the first time or seeing her emotional life for the first time in The Woman Warrior. And the other was by Vanessa Waugh, who wrote about folklore and kind of the way stories are reinterpreted over time, including in The Woman Warrior. So my interest is more in creating conversation around the piece. And to the extent it seems like it would be a good idea for a particular book to have a conversation ahead of time with the author myself, I would choose to do that. But so far, I think it's been really nice to see what other people besides me think and the way in which the book has affected them. And it's been such a pleasure for me to read and edit those pieces.
I love that you have freedom to kind of read the book and determine the kind of course of action of the way the California Book Club is going to discuss and think about the book ahead of time. And then a little bit after the fact, I know you do a recap of the event and look at it with fresh eyes after we talk to the author. Is there anything that you're hoping to bring to the California Book Club, or see a way that the book club might expand or develop? What are your hopes for the California Book Club community?
My hope is just to bring new attention to California authors and authors who have, connections to California in whatever way, and maybe expand our understanding in a broader sense of what California literature is, the diversity of California literature, the heterogeneity of California itself. I think there's we talk about no single story for a particular race or country, but there's also no single story of California. And I think sometimes that gets elided in the larger, national conversation or international conversation. And I think one of our goals probably should be to open up those topics. And I think John Freeman, who is our host, does a very nice job of, looking at these different books from different angles and asking the authors questions that are particularly pertinent to their interpretations of California and their experiences there.
You're an author yourself, which I imagine gives you a very unique perspective on how we communicate with authors, how we examine their work. First of all, can you tell us a little bit about your books?
Oh, sure. I have two books I focus on. One is Love Songs for a Lost Continent, which is a short story collection that is mostly set in California and thinks about California themes like reinvention, and looks at also sort of the strangeness sometimes of life in California. And strangeness is relative. I actually feel it's very identifiable, but of course I feel that way because I'm the author. And then Chimerica is a surrealist novel. I have a really strong interest in surrealism. And so it's a surrealist novel about a lemur who escapes from a mural in Oakland and comes to an attorney for help. But instead of helping him, she enmeshes him further in the legal system in order to further her own ends in terms of her career. And it's kind of an examination of Tamil American identity, not belonging, home, what home might be when it comes to California, and reinvention, which I think is a really, California-oriented theme. So those are the two books that I like of my books.
We reviewed Chimerica before you came to join the team and loved it, if I'm not mistaken. You're also, as I have learned in being in many team meetings with Anita, you are a voracious reader. You're a lover of books. You know so much. Any book that comes up, the authors that come up, you've got the history, the background, you've already read it. When did you discover this passion for literature, and how do you squeeze in time? You're a mom, you work, to read for what is so clearly pleasure. You love books. If I could name one person I know that really just is madly in love with books, it's Anita Felicelli.
Oh, that is so nice of you to say. And I'm also a little embarrassed because, yeah, I do. I'm completely in love with books. That's my first love affair is with books. I knew I wanted to be an author from age 4. And after that, I kept reading and I kept wanting to write my own stories. And I kept searching for stories that somehow spoke to my experience. And I often found ones that spoke to my emotional experience. So that was pretty great. And that just kept building. And I started writing short stories in like a more American literary tradition in high school. And I took workshops in college, and I was an English major and I was a rhetoric major. I was, I'm very, very focused on language. I took a weird turn somewhere and decided to become a lawyer, but that was mostly a whim because I happened to like sentences a lot and interpreting them. And so, it seemed like a good idea to, to make money by doing that. And then I just got kind of stuck there. But all along I did read. I actually probably read just as much as an attorney, which I think is kind of unusual. And I married a writer who had good taste in books. So I had this whole other, avenue into literature because of that. Like, he's an experimental author. So my work was actually more traditional, even though it has these surrealist elements. So I just loved books. There was never, any doubt in my mind that that was what I was supposed to be doing. And it was a calling. So
what's, other than the upcoming CBC selections, which are The Women Warrior by Maxine Hong Kingston, They're There by Tommy Orange, and The Barbarian Nurseries by Hector Tovar. What's on your nightstand? What are you like nose deep in right now?
What am I nose deep in right this present moment? I think, I just
Okay,
finished.
if it's something embarrassing.
No, it's not. It's Tiffany Yannick's Monster in the Middle that I just finished. And it's just so powerful. It's a really powerful story about love. It's literary fiction. It is pretty different from her debut book, in my opinion, because her style is very different. She gets very much into the voices of her characters and the ways in which, family history can shape love. I also recently read, what else did I recently read? I'm trying to think.
Well, as you think of that, let me ask you, I feel like, now I feel bad for like, I, as a non literary expert like you are, I haven't written any books. I haven't devoted my life to the passion of literature. But I certainly love to read, but I have a little, the books I like are what I would regard as like guilty pleasure books. Is there such a thing? Do you believe that there's such a thing as an embarrassing book to read? Is it super cheap? Is it dumb to love? I love true crime. I love horror and suspense books. I like dark. I like Bridget Jones' Diary. Is there anything to be, should we let go of our shame around what we're reading?
Yes. I have a very strong view
Horrible
of
if you
yes.
said
You should
no.
read whatever you want to read. I truly believe that. And I also have not what I would call guilty pleasures, but just pleasures. I love Tana French's books, for example. She's one of my
Stranger right
favorites.
now.
And who else do I love that some people think is
We blurred our backgrounds, but I have a whole ton of French situation going on.
Yeah, no, because who does? And I am always mystified if somebody says they don't love Tana French, because she is just incredible. The atmosphere she weaves, I just want to be living in her Dublin, because
right.
It's amazing. Let's see what else. Oh, Elena Ferrante has these covers that look like they should be guilty pleasures. They're not actually guilty pleasures. I don't think they're very literary, but they're these stories of friendship and women's lives that focus on dark things and are extremely accessible. And I love them. Those are my favorite books. People are mystified when I say that because they are actually realistic, but but those are probably my favorite novels, and they're extremely direct in their language. I actually just read another book, Kaya Days, which was not direct, but I loved it because it was highly experimental. So I think there's, it's by a Mauritian author, and he's writing about a girl searching for her brother. And you would think that might not be exciting, but it's extremely exciting. It's partly just the way he goes so quickly between emotional states. So I think, there's so many different reasons to love books, and I don't think any of them are shameworthy.
Good. Are you able to reveal kind of a dream California Book Club selection? You could pitch the panel hard, be like, you guys, make a case for a title. Who would it be?
It would probably be Nawaz Ahmed's recent book, Radiant Fugitives, which I did review for Alta. And it is about a Muslim Indian family from Tamil Nadu, which is also happens to be the state where, I was born in India. And it is about two sisters who go through very different paths. And one of them is in San Francisco. And I think there's this beauty to the way in which fog becomes kind of a symbol of the way we're veiled from each other, and also, is so representative of California, of San Francisco's, natural, the things that remind us of San Francisco, such as fog and, the Golden Gate Bridge. There's these images that are very iconic, and yet they're so original because we haven't seen this story before, and it just weaves in the Quran and John Keats. So that's my pitch. That's the book that I wish would be our next selection, or one of our next selections.
Mine is, of course, Michael Conley, mainly just because I have to schedule a rehearsal with Michael Conley. My job is to schedule the rehearsal with the CBC author. And I just love Bosch and think he's really fun and slightly dreamy. With that, Anita.
That's always a good thing, because you have to look at people for a long time. That's like a nice thing.
He's just so cool. And again, it's crime, it's noir a little bit. Anita, it's really fun to work with you at Alta and the California Book Club. Thank you so much for thank you so much for taking the time to let us get to know you. And again, to anyone in the California Book Club, you can always reach out to me or Anita, Beth@altaonline.com, Anita@altaonline.com. We love to chat, obviously. And we're here to answer questions and be excited about books and the California Book Club and Alta with you. So thank you very much. Take care, and we will see you at the next CBC event.